Okay, so we are now live, part 77 of the game engine coding live stream, and part 8 of the GUI, the button, and we are doing buttons. We fixed a major issue yesterday, and we're just going to be implementing button features now. So at the moment, okay, so let me say, we have the option to so if you really want to go custom, you can have a couple of methods. Set rectangle if you really want to go custom with this. So there'll be a const rectangle reference, call it rectangle, set rectangle background, the void set label background const label. Okay, so if I just right click this and I go to create method implementations, boom, done. And if I say underscore button background equals rectangle, it's gonna give me an error. Because it's a const, isn't it? Or instead, if I just do this instead, no, I'm gonna have it the way it was. Either that or with a reference. Should I have it with that or a reference? I mean, that should be fine, to be fair. And do something similar with this. Underscore button label equals there we go. So let's do getters as well. So void get rectangle background const, and this is going to return a rectangle pointer. So return underscore button background. Okay, so now we're going to do something similar for the label. And now let's implement this. Return button label. Okay, and I don't like it for the simple reason it should be label. And there we go. Okay, so that allows us to really just override it. Most of the time you're not gonna want to do this. So what most of the time we'll have is something that allows us to modify this stuff. So we need to set the position of the button. So let me create some methods. I mean, in the to-do, let's create stuff that we need to do. We need set and get position. We need set text. Really, they'll just pass it into the label and then get it out of the label, and then automatically resize the background. Text positioning, left, right, left, center, right. So potentially top left. No, I'll just keep it like that. So it's either to the left, to the middle, or to the right. And we're gonna have set background color, hover. We'll have a hover thing, background color, border color, background color, border color, text color, text border color. So we've got the position stuff. What else do we need? We're gonna need a lot of the stuff that we frankly have in like the label. So we need the position. We need we need the board. Look at the border. We already put that there. We need to be able to move it. Moving it. Move. Rotation scale. Pivot. Rotation scale. Pivot. Rotation scale. Pivot. Rotation scale pivot, local and global bounds, local and global bounds. Set font. I mean the style as well. Style. I mean, really, because we can actually get the object, do we need to go this into it? We'll do it. Set style. Seems like a lot, but we'll just slowly start. I want that one first. And I want that one next. Maybe I want that one first. Automatic sizing of the actual thing as well. Automatic sizing of the rectangle based on the text. Okay, so that's a nice bit of set of features we can start implementing. Yo, it's hot in here, man. feels so hot. To make a note of something. Gonna whack some music on. Okay, so computer type tablet. Nah, not really. Installation date 2010 and 20 installed it quite a while before that. Maybe one of the major updates. Okay, so whack some music on and then let's start implementing these features. bear with me. Hello, hello, hello. My phone doesn't seem to want to work properly. I'm gonna give it a reboot. Okay, that's restarting. So while that restarts, I'm gonna look at automatically sign the rectangle based on the text. Let's give it a run. Let's see what we're actually, getting. And I know we could do with commenting. These as well. So parameter no return type. Set the the buttons background rectangle. Most of the time leave as is. Rectangle pointer to the rectangle. Return type no parameters. Get the buttons background rectangle. Turns the buttons background rectangle. Get the buttons label. Button background label. Let's give this a run again. I got some error. I don't know if that was what that was exactly down to. See if my phone works now. Because it was working yesterday when I left it. I'm positive of it. Okay, so the headphones are working now. Good stuff. What we're also gonna do the label should still be in the top left. The button should be, the background should be a little lower. I want that. I want to automatically position the label. So I want to first just position somewhere else. Let's change the pivot point, because we can either do it based on a specific X and Y, yeah, or we can just do like, this is great, we can do Okay, we are back. Only part of the label, if I'm correct, should be on screen. It should be centered. Yes, that's good. So now let's set it. Let's just set it wherever the underscore button label, set position to basically the position get will that work? Oh, did I not do a vec one? Because what does get position do? See, that returns there. And therefore I'm going to have to override. Too much hassle now. This is my fault. Dot. Oh yeah, that's the whole point of doing this. This will probably, the center of the label will be the top left of the background, if I'm right. Kind of. It's kind of there, but I don't know how much extra border and whatnot it's got there, but I'm going to consider that okay. So we got a center now. Get the width, divide that by 2. I mean, that's almost there. For some reason, it's just the X looks okay. I don't need menus yet. Obviously, these will be abstracted, the hard coded nature of it, and the set of font file path will be abstracted as well. Let's whack 2 more. Let's whack 4 more zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. that's compiled a whole heap, is it? It's that CSV file, man, that just keeps getting compiled again and again. It's getting annoying, that CSV is. Yeah, see the gap for... I bet if I had another 0. That CSV, because it's a header only, that gets compiled everything. Where is it? Pause. Can I don't think I can really comment out this. So look. Might get errors. It's gonna compile it because of was the high score that used it? The map. The map. Why is that still compiling CSV? I think it's just because it's in here, it's gonna get recompiled again and again. Yeah, and that's getting it right as well. I thought like there might be, I don't know, something wrong here. There an issue. Try one of the other ones. Top left. It's a bit on an offset for some reason. Your top left looks a bit off. Oh, okay. Hello. I have this assignment to implement a cube map, and I gotta tell you, you got the best tutorial out there by far. Thanks a lot. Good to hear that it helps. I'm guessing OpenGL or FreeJS. Either way, good to hear. Top left. Yeah. No, there's something wrong with the top. Something wrong with like that should be touching exactly. If I do center, how are you her anyway? You good? Because if I run it, if I'm speaking loud, it's because I got my earphones on. What the hell is that now? Yeah, I know why that's doing that. I'm fine, been busy past week. How's you and the family? Family's good, I'm good. How are you and the family as well? Your center seems to work, but the top is not as... Yeah, like x-axis seems all good, hence why I got so many zeros here. It's like I'm gonna put this off. Okay, so that should be centered in X and Y. So X, I mean, looks spot on. Y, there's something wrong with it. It's almost like it's centering the top of it, but I'm positive I set pivot. Let me get rid of this pivot. Let's see what happens when I redo the pivot. What? No, this should be the way I was. No, that's not. Nah. Let me try it without this. So the hello bank, how are you doing? See, that looks like it's centered in the x-axis. If this was right, the top of the text, top of the zeros will be touching this. But again, there's a gap. There's some slight gap. Again, I don't know, is that something the way SFML renders a label? That I don't know. Let me try something. Let me go back to the way it was. And and we'll do underscore button label dot set character size. By default it's at a 32 to a 40. Maybe the font, it's a capital letter, is a capital letter bigger than a 0. I'll have a look at capitals in a second only. Okay, so making it bigger didn't really help, didn't really reveal much, I don't think. At least not to me. In all fairness, let me change this back. Okay, and let me just put the text here, underscore button label dot set text. Whoa, where have we gone? Let's go. I want to just put O's instead of zeros now. So these are O's, not zeros. It's getting annoying that it's recompiling a bunch of stuff again and again and again, which I don't want. I'm pressing F5, that shouldn't. I don't know why this keeps recompiling stuff. Maybe you got an idea why her? Maybe the font, yeah, it could be the font. Now that's messed up in the x-axis as well. Don't need pre-compiled headers to fasten compile times. On this one. How do I use the pre-compiled headers? Which headers are you referring to? Our library files. That's not doing it. Let's do the pre-compiled stuff after stream. Takes too much time. Okay, that's fine. We'll do it after the stream. We'll jump on a Discord call and do it. Let me change the size of the box. Try 40. Again. Yeah, it's just off in the y-axis for some reason. So it's almost. It's not quite there. It's almost like the top of the label is in the center of the box. Almost, not quite there. Let me try 75. I mean, that's almost the center, right? Is that? Nah, is that the center of it? Okay, maybe. I think Might be getting somewhere with it. Maybe if we take away the underscore button label dot get local bounds dot y divided by 2. Let's try that. Where and how do you calculate position of the text relative to the button text? Where? No, it's not quite there yet. There isn't. That didn't quite work the way I had hoped. No. Let's change this back to 50. And give it a run. Razor says hi Razor. Where and how do you calculate the position of the text relative to the button box? Again, that's better, but not quite there. Oh, so that's happening here. That's literally this stuff over here. That's this right here. Ignore this little bit there. I see you design the set position. Yeah, doing the set position line. I'm thinking maybe there's something wrong with this, the way I'm setting the pivot. But when I had a look at the pivot, it seemed okay. Local bound width divided by 0.5. Local bound height times by 0.5. So that seems a-okay. Unless the height is not properly getting set. It's based off the local bounds of the actual SFML object. The beauties of GUI stuff. Shouldn't you keep in mind the height of the font too? Ooh. I wonder if that's it. I'll hard code it in for now. Do 16 or 32. The font is 32 at, so the character size is like the button has its height, but you divide the button, but then you should have well, that's 16. 16 is too much then. That's half. Like, if you do that, 16 is half of the character size. The character size is set to 32. But that is smack bang centered on that now. Okay. Sneeze. I mean, that's looking closer, but not quite there yet. I'm gonna change it to 0 so I can get a better look at it. Nah. It is now because of the set pivot thing. I mean, that's not quite there. Is it there or is it not there? I mean, it's close. So if I do underscore button label dot get character we don't have a get character size? That's whack. We've got to implement that. Before I had it. HHJKL set character size. Okay, so return underscore text dot get character size. Why did I not implement a get character size? It doesn't make sense why I wouldn't. I don't know. Well, I'm implementing it right now. Return type no parameters. Get the characters size in pixels. Output returns the character size. Okay, so let's go back to button. Get set the button size to 64. Okay, I'll set the button size to 64. Just give me a second. So if we ever set the character size, we gotta reset the position as well. If we ever reset the text, we gotta reset the position. What the hell happened there? No, it don't seem right at all. I didn't mean the character size, I meant the button size. Oh. Okay, so you think it's a multiple of 2 issue. You did say button. You did say button size. That was my bad. I read it wrong myself. That wasn't your fault. Okay, so let me reset this back to what we was doing. Put this at 32. You want the finger 64. character size is 632 now. Actually, is the bottom of the label, bottom of the text at the center? I mean, the bottom almost looks centered, doesn't it? Does it here? No, not quite. So even on the y-axis, it's not fully centered as well. That's a bit off. I mean the x-axis. How are you? I'm good. I'm good. Techno, how are you? So if I do without this, see what it looks like again. Yeah, it does seem like it's a SML font rendering thing. So that's what is that even doing? Now, label CPP. So if we set the, ignore character size. If we set the font. If we set font, we gotta set size. We set the size right there. Okay, that's fine. If we set the font, we set the size when we set the character size. We set the size when we set the text as well. Where else would we need to set the size? Set font. Don't need that there then. Shouldn't need that there. That's what. Let's notice that that's extra redundant code. I'm an 11-year-old boy and I am game dev. Can you teach me more about Unreal Engine? Sonar system is epic. Thank you very much. So I don't have any tutorials on Unreal Engine. Something I want to do in the future. Honestly, there's a lot of resources out there. I would recommend. Do you use an epic processor? Very fast scrolling. No, this is an old processor, 3930K. It's an extreme processor, but it is pretty old now. I'm probably gonna do a new PC build in a year or so when DDR5 and PC Express 5 is out. I'll do it then. I'll do a whole new build. And I can't immediately see any issues in here that would cause those issues. There might be other problems here, but set font. Okay, that is cool. Width, height, global, local bands. Nice, you're interested in programming at this young age. It is indeed. Is the new Gunbound? I don't get the reference or what the question is. Let me Google how SFML is rendering. SFML font size. Draw. There we go. Somebody's asking it. Just because the size is different between the objects and usually the offset there. You can use true type font rendering. Things become a tiny bit more tricky because the origin of the font is. Yeah, I don't have an issue with figuring that out, but I just wanna. Not really helped. And the box developed to text lift. Yeah, that's. I do lives twice a day, gameplay and coding. Find character, but again, I don't have the issue with the X one. The issue is with the Y height. Let's have a look. If I go into YouTube, I know somebody else, one or two other people have done something kind of similar. The SFML 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 button. See what they've done. Oh, somebody's live. Do you see if that's OpenGL? Ooh. Check out his video.
You could add a bytecode.
I will.
It would be just as easy to calculate. However,
Seems interesting.
when we're thinking of when we look at this, and I showed you guys how the tangent and bitangent vectors may not always be perpendicular.
It's a bit mean.
Sure that they are perpendicular. Just because the orthogonality will allow for more accurate calculations. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave the bitangent calculation to the vertex, to wherever we calculate this by the normal vector to translate or transform the normal vector.
Hey guys and girls, welcome back to another good video.
Into the object space. So sonar systems. That's just a very eerie emote, or not emote, emoji. Right, and then now we want to calculate the tangent space matrix. So calculate tangent space matrix. So vec3t is going to be normalize of normal model times a tangent. Once again, just translating everything into tangent space. So this is just taking the new attribute that we have here. Then vec3n is equal to vs out and normal.
I just want to see what he says.
The bitangent of vector 3b is equal to the cross product of n and t. So we're just gonna, once again, that's the reason why we didn't need to calculate the bitangent vector, because we're just gonna take the cross product.
Let's see what he got at the end.
However, before this, watch. This is. I don't want to shout anyone out. Oh no. That's cool. Maybe I'll pop in once I'm done with this. I'll be done in like 10 minutes maybe. Alright, before we calculate the cross product, we do want to do one thing to the tangent vector, and we want to re-orthogonalize it. Once again, just because it may not be perfectly perpendicular to the normal vector. So t is equal to normalize t minus the dot product of t n times n. So what does this mean?
Techno, if you don't behave, I will ban you or kick you.
I appreciate that. So the dot product of t and n is the component of the tangent vector that is parallel to the normal vector.
I am gonna.
When we multiply that by the normal vector to get the normal vector that is, or the component of the tangent vector that is parallel to the normal.
So yeah, you are in.
Just that right here because this is kind
You
of
are on a timeout. So if you don't behave,
this is a cool little vector technique here.
if you look at this here,
So let's say we had a vector here, and
he seems to be having some. I don't know. But he seems to be having some similar issue where his text is not 100% centered.
I'll say that this is n hat because it's a unit vector since we normalized it. So the components, we can kind of break this down.
So let's actually listen to what he's
And
saying.
everything's fine, so let's just run this. Let's see if it crashes. Probably will. Oh, it does. Cool. Updated. It does work. I can close that down.
Let's get to where he was actually doing the centering part. What does he have at this?
And that's cool. If people take that.
That's just
beautiful,
working
beautiful
button.
day.
So we really want the video before this. Probably have number 14.
The nice touchdown. Touchdown. Ooh. Put me, please, just 1 second. There we go. Nice. Minus the width and the height. So let's see. Hopefully this is gonna work. If it's not, I'll make sure I figure that out onto
I'll go.
the next video. Yeah, pretty much not, actually. But I'll figure that out. Okay. Don't worry. That shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I saw the link. We'll have a look after.
Yeah. That is.
You go get to
Wait,
the
you know what?
project.
You know what?
I want to.
You know what it is? Get global bounds dot width divided by 2. I'm so dumb. Get global bounds divided by height divided by 2. Let's just run this one more time, please, guys. Just stick with me, please.
Invalidate
There we
link.
go. Now it's centered. Boom. Easy peasy. Okay. Nice. Now we got a
Yeah, the global link I don't think will help with what we're trying to do.
It's pretty much just switching colors
See, he
depending on what's going on. So that's good.
seems to be having a
That's great.
similar
Thank
issue.
you so much for watching.
Yeah, let him enjoy. I'll give him a thumbs up.
Hey guys and girls, welcome back to another beautiful video.
You want really running this video?
A little text box up there, and so if our mouse goes over it, it turns.
What did he have at that point?
And then we go here, and we
See,
click it, then you
he
see
has
that you
something
put the button
similar.
here over there. And so yeah, so this is like how you can do a standard so tutorial to help you all that. And thanks for watching. Bye.
Let me try something else. Let me try this. Let me try. I won't set the label relative to the background. I'll set the background relative to the label. So let me put, don't need all of it before, but let me try all of it. Let me set the position. Let me say underscore button. And when we did character, you would do set size and we do set position again, don't we? Yes, that's fine. Okay, that's what I want to see. If I do the button label dot set position, let's say if I do 300 by 250, oh, that's fine. And I do this in relation to the other thing. So I do underscore button label get position. Why don't we have get position? What BS is this? What methods am I missing out, bro? Set position. We should just have the get position from the drawable. Oh, there it is. Okay, get position. I'm just gonna do it like this and see what happens. Get position. What's it moaning about? It's not accessible. What do you mean? Should be, bro. I mean, don't think that should make a difference. I mean, that actually made a difference. Let me run that, see if it still works. What is your spacing set to? What do you mean by spacing? Okay, still worked. That's good. So I'm setting the button background relative to that. Don't set the pivot. I'll set the pivot for this instead. No, that won't. We've got to factor in the width and the height. That won't work. That'll be totally off. What happens if I do pivot for both? or using any kind of padding. I'm not using any extra padding. I'm not adding any extra spacing at all. I'm not doing any border stuff. I'm not doing any of that stuff. That still seems to be looking pretty similar, to be fair. Let me just actually, if I get the X, let's see what the X is and the Y is and what we need to do for the X and Y. So we need to move it halfway, so we need to move it halfway and halfway. Unless that's for my adding some padding. Possible. Again, like you said, the font. I would try a different font. It is not a bad idea to try a different font. So let me just try this one thing, then I'll download another font. Get width divided by 2. I will do multiplication afterwards, and just because it's more efficient. Let's go button label dot get height divided by 2. Type that code. Don't quite get what you're saying there. Boolean in. You still remember the division issue. Still remember it. Gotta make sure I do it. Might need to go through it. That's all we wanted. Are you bit shifting even more efficient than multiplication? Might need to look into that as well. Let me switch it back to the way it was. And then I'll try. Once this is back to the way it was, I'm going to use a different font. Okay, so let's use a different font. So let me go on to dafont.com. Let me try, I don't know, try Academy. I don't know, why not? Why the hell not? Download. That's called academy.ttf, and I should already have it open. Academy.ttf. Academy. So let's give this a run. Oh, that's a bit. Well, so we one of the standard fonts like Arial, even better, Consola. I am using Arial. I'm using a downloaded version of Arial, but I am using Arial. Let me see. Is Consola is it built in? Where where are the font? Where are the fonts in Windows? Let me have a look. Font location, Windows 7, Windows 10. So it is Windows, fonts, Windows, fonts. It changed into a different menu. Consolers. I do consoler regular. It is TTF consoler. Even that has some sort of issue there, but saying that, there's a few things I need to do anyway. Background. Magnetic prism is here. Hey. Give that a run, see what we get. I mean, is this something we're just gonna have to live with, or it's a bit too much? Let's divide that by 2. One second, I'm just gonna open the window because it's getting a bit warm in here now. You should just roll off. There we go. Ooh, this is getting hot in here, man. Oh, I'm just gonna go and get an ice cream. I'll be back in a second. Just gonna get a refill. Actually, I'll wash this mug up. I'll get a refill on the water, get a cold bottle. It is hot. I think it is offset by 4 pixels or so. You think? Let's have a look. Yes it is. Why is that? That looks pretty close. Try 5. So that looks pretty on point, almost. I'll explain my reasoning behind this in a second. Not too much. That's too much. I feel like that's a tad too much. How good was 8? Ten looks better. Let's do 32 at 5. I mean, it's not ideal, but we could do some sort of ratio between the two. I'm guessing that's what's getting into your head. I mean, that looks on point. Let me try 128. That's 129. 128, 5, 10, 20. Press F9, and then we press F5. Oh man, no. Cancel that, rerun it. Ooh, let's do it based on this gappy thing. Unless the higher you get. Whoa! This is why. There's a slight issue with why it's just not as prevalent. I'm gonna throw this away, wash my hands, and we'll come back and do some sort of dodgy algorithm hack thing. That was a good spot though, at 4 pixels. How did you spot it? GPQ? Ooh. Don't say that. Don't say that. Okay. Let's just try and do this for now. Waka hash define, yeah? Hash define dodgy label text height ratio 19.0 f divided by 128.0 f. And if we get the character size underscore button label dot get character size times by the dodgy label text height ratio. Fix. Now make sure this works with this, just to see where they are drawn. Just put those into the... I will. 1 second. That looks like it's still working fine. We'll sort out the X in a second, and we'll try with 64. Try with 32, and then we'll try it with, and then we'll do those letter thing that you were saying. Okay. Oh, actually, one second. Let me see the X-axis one. Yeah, there's a slight difference. Obviously, the larger the text, the more pronounced it is. That's looking pretty good with this dodgy fix. Let me go pretty extreme with 256, because ultimately it's not implemented yet. We're gonna make the button go bigger relative to, I mean, that's looking pretty darn good. That is, like, the gap is looking pretty centered there. Okay, so I'm gonna switch it back to 64. I'll do the other letters. Your current button size is not a multiple of 8, so no wonder it is off. Oh, you mean this here? It's still off. Yeah, it's still off a tad. We'll fix that in a second. Let's just do a regular sentence first, something like hello world with nothing going underneath it. Well, the same amount of pixels like it was off on the y-axis. Looks similar, yes. Yes, see, the L isn't quite on point, but whereas if you look at the H, I think the H is pretty much on point there. Magnifier. See, that's looking pretty. The L, again, the L obviously is higher than that anyway, so I'm going to consider that a success. You probably wouldn't have the label that big anyway, because we would have the thingy automatically size around it. That's something more how it would be. It would look alright. Obviously, you would have that much on the left, but that's what it would be like. Okay, so let's try. Trying to think of a word. I like pressure. So that's basically doing it. Yeah, so the actual size does it based on the entire thing. What do you think, her? Is this good enough? Are we going to say this is good enough or not? Online 2D game engine. I want to see how theirs ends up. If you can even do lowercase. I want to be able to unlock a menu. Try online. It is 2 pixels off. 2 pixels off. 1 second. Do we need another calculator? Then basically, do we have a check that if it has one of those letters, then we lower it down? Create new project. Don't really care what else when we had to add a button. Can I search? Just make it work. 1 second. The video game. Yeah, it is. Video game buttons. And zooming didn't particularly help. Okay, so that one seems to have done it properly. That one, yes and no? I know some of them aren't aligned either. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So first of all, let's just figure it out. If we add 2 plus 2, just for this character size, does this work? If so, then we can figure out another, dodgy. Is that it? Is it 2 or 3 that we need to go to? Does it look good? Let's try 3. I mean, 3's looking good as well. So let's have a look at it with 64. If we double this, again we can just do a dodgy ratio fix for the lowercase letter thing. I mean, that's looking pretty decent. Obviously the owl is overextended, so we're not factoring. Let's try 4 aka 8. Nah, that's too low down now, I think. I think 3 was on point. 3's on point, or a multiple of 3. So if I did 12, 128, and then do some dodgy fix for this, but then that's only if there's a letter in there. If I remove the P, it won't work anymore. Nope, that's not looking good. Wait, that's not looking good anymore because we don't have a P in there. We've got to put a P in there for that to look good. Duh. Use a small L and a small P. You just want to make me suffer, don't you, her? That's looking on point, though. So I'll put it out there. So that just is not nice, man. Oh damn! Now it comes to my mind that why there might be offset. Why we didn't think about E thingy or the, so there has to be room on the top for those two. For like those, the ones with the accent, like a French ones. Is that what you think it is? So how can I trigger that on my keyboard? I might just copy it. French letters. I mean, yeah, if you look at it there. No, I don't know how to type them. How do you type them? What's the command? Is it like command or like starty? Use your what key? No what key? I think you're making this up. What? I can't seem to get it. You have a key on your keyboard saying What's really annoying about this is if the P's in there, or like the owl or a letter with accents in there, then it's, you know, taller. The height is greater. Otherwise, it isn't. If they just said with this font, it's always gonna be, you know, the maximum height, which, you know, factors in the P, the owl, or something with an accent, then that would make things easier. Yes, I am using the English keyboard. Yo, that is a lot of hassle, man. I bet you if we do this, we don't need to do this anymore. I feel like if we do that, so it's only if it's got one of them. See that tad little gap there. So it needs to be up one more. I guess we could. Let me have a look. Do I really have any games on my phone? Got the odd one. I don't really play many games on my phone. Let me have a look at what their menus are like. Nah, even that don't. It's got an accent on the buttons as well, so it's kind of hard to tell. Starters, they're all using uppercase as well. I've noticed that before in games. Again, I don't know if that's... Because, yeah, if you use uppercase, if I say, hello, Peter. So we've got the L's and the P's there. That's fine now, I bet you. Yeah, that's calm. Hello, Peter. To be off there, but I mean, you're gonna get the little slight variances. Whack back 19, and whack that down to 64. It's a bit too big actually. That one, they'll just set it to. See, that looks alright for the y-axis. I'm gonna say that if you are not using uppercase, because the variance is in the letters used, that's down to you. That is a fair bit off. But we would make the button a fair bit bigger as well. So like if the button was instead of 64, let's say it was 96. I'm going to leave this as it is. Because let me think of another. Try and launch up another game. Well, I'm on two dots. And the play button, the text does not look centered, with or without the accent. And there is a lowercase. See, it's... Nah. I think we can leave this now, I think all we got to do now... I think all we got to do now is do the... What's it called? The x-axis. Fix that little x-axis displacement. You're saying you think it's the same thing? You need a few more zeros. Need a couple more zeros. 4 more zeros. X-axis was a bit off, I think. You see that it is a tad off. It should be a bit more to the left. I think you were saying you think it's so if this is I'm gonna do copy that. And we're gonna do I mean, let's see what happens if I just do this instead. Make the button box the same X size as the mounted charge times 8. So each letter in the font is 8 pixels wide. So for 8 letters, a box of 80 should fit. 8 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 80 will be fine. I mean, that ain't right. I don't get where you're going with that. Oh, that needs to go back one. That's a bit too much now. So whatever it is, it isn't this now. Okay, so let's think about it. This is pretty accurate, to be fair. It is pretty darn accurate. If I run this, it's something like that. Cause I think if we start nitpicking on other games, we're probably gonna see these issues. Launched up Evil Pop. See, that looks fine. The odd pixel here and there, you're not gonna notice when there's some gap around it. See, most of them have. I bet you, if I zoomed in enough, we would have issues. See, I'm looking at it and I can see issues. Got no one that says got it, and yes, it isn't fully centered, but it is good enough and you don't have an issue with it. Okay, so I'm going to consider this done. Let's try Arial. Is it lowercase a or uppercase a? Oh, lowercase a. And let's close this. Nobody would notice the button has posting on it. True, they're not going to notice it. And we got pulsing built in as well. Okay, that's Arial. See, there's an offsetting Arial now. See, Arial's a bit dodgy there. The Arial just doesn't want to play ball exactly either. I mean, like, it's not. I think it's because we're staring at it for too long, we're nitpicking, that we're seeing these problems. Whereas if, let's say, you naturally did height, let's see, 128, let's do 110. Try Verdana font. Is that really gonna mess things up? See, like, at that size, it doesn't look too bad. So like the sort of button you would probably have is something probably along the lines of this in the game. And I'll try Verdana font as well. So we go to... So you have a button like that, or maybe a little narrow. You probably wouldn't care when there's 3 or 4 buttons, you've got a background, maybe some animation going on in the background. You're not gonna really care. I'll try the Verdana font and then we'll wrap this little part of it up. Windows F fonts. Verdana. Verdana. Yes, some shadow on the text will work too. Yeah, so as soon as you start adding that, you add some border, you add a bit of this, you add a bit of that. Is that Verdana? Apparently that's Verdana. Let me see if I even do. If I don't do this, what does it look like on the Verdana font, for example? That looks even worse. I'm gonna consider it done. That's that done. Let's just do times by 0.5f. We don't have automatic sizing. We got automatic positioning, but no automatic sizing. So they don't need. Well, we will never have that hard coded here anyway. That set and get character size. And okay, so I'll do that one last test. Impact font. Why the hell not? Font. No. Impact. No. No. There it is. I mean, I don't think that's any worse than the Verdana one per se. Because let's say with this you had a 128, you had a 400. So this is probably how you would have the button. I mean, that don't look too bad, but it is more dense in the x-axis. Yeah, like the x-axis seems fine. I mean, there's a bit more on there, but it's not enough to be like. See, I want to leave that. Something that we potentially revisit at a later date. See, that looks centered based on the lowercase letters only, not the uppercase letters. And how does it look if I was to do all uppercase? Similar issues, you know. Not 100% idea. Put a P somewhere in the hello world string, then you'll see it fits. I'm guessing you meant the lowercase one. Like you just have the hello, so hello world, hello. I'm gonna stick to uppercase. I'll stick to good fonts. Good fonts. That P is a bit small now. This is what I'm sticking to. Consola, uppercase. Boom, done. Yeah, this should be okay for now. So I'm going to wrap up now. It's been a while. I was only going to do an hour. It's been 2 hours. At least we fixed this issue. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. We'll jump on a call afterwards if you're available. We'll go through that Discord thing that you sent. I haven't even looked at what it is yet. I haven't read the message. You probably can see. I'll have a look at that. And you want to talk about something? Probably about the engine. We'll talk about that. And tomorrow, yeah, automatic sizing of the rectangle based on the text. So yeah, we'll just border padding. We'll have the ability to add some padding. Yeah, so console, this is the font to go for testing. Did not know that, but good to know now. Got the dodgy label text height ratio fix. Yeah, that won't be there, that won't be there, that will be based off the label anyway. So the size will be okay. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap up now, give this a quick build and then give it a commit as well. Engine is, it's difficult work. It's difficult work. And we're building still on top of a base like SFML has its issues but has its strong points as well. Building on top of a base with the GUI stuff. I want it done by the end of this. We'll see how it goes. But we're pretty on track by the end of March to hopefully start making some games with this engine. And yeah, as I've said before, this is 100% free and available on open source, unlike some of the other projects online. Nice point to wrap up. My laptop with the chat is the battery's about to die, so this is what I was going to put here. Pain in the ass. I use dollar signs instead. What did we implement? We implemented label and background position together over the top. That's basically it. I think some of the engine stuff is as well. But yeah, the GUI stuff is definitely, because it's real fine stuff. It's basically stuff you see. Wait till you get to font button scaling. Text box stuff. Menu. Okay, I'm gonna have it so there's an option to turn background off and on, because just in case you want to just turn it off, that should just be an alpha thing. Just turn that off. Like the actually, if you turn it off, just don't draw it. Don't draw it. Like the text doesn't fit in the button, you have to scale the font down and the button up. That will be fun. Wait till you get to fun is definitely an interesting word to use for that. I like that name there. Okay, so we are done. That little modification in the to-do doesn't matter. We are done for today. Thank you everyone for watching. Now let's do this. Close tabs to the right. So modify this to 78 tomorrow. You're doing part 16 of Ghost of Tsushima, part 9 of buttons still. That is why I prefer to use libraries like GUI. Yeah, I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. Yeah, I've looked at GUI before. Bloat-free graphical user interface. You don't get me wrong, it definitely provides a lot for you. Imagine if I just end up using GUI as well after this. Just wanted to be able to use it with the features that we got in our engine, like the pulsing and some of the other hover stuff. You know what? I might actually end up using GUI for the simple reason I like the graph stuff. Even if it's not for everything else, but just the graph stuff. Then you have the option to use GUI as well. Yeah, it seems like it's great for that sort of stuff. I might potentially add it for, especially for debug stuff. Especially if I want to add, because I would like to, it's on the list. Is it even that color? Yeah, it's not for this. The height is, yeah, there's nothing is gonna be 100% on, even theirs isn't. Okay, so if you look at the Doom FPS counter, let me get a video up. How you been getting on with Cyberpunk? Enjoying it? Yeah, like something like that. That's what I would like, some level of stats like that. That's what I want. Okay, wrapping up now. I'll check that link out. I'll pop you a message on Discord as well, that we can have a quick chat. I am tired, it will be a quick one, but yeah, we can have a quick chat if you are available. Okie dokie. So I'm gonna stop streaming now. Thanks for all your help. Thanks everyone else for watching, and I'll see everyone tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of the evening and enjoy your weekend as well. Like I said, I'll see you tomorrow. Cyberpunk 27 is a pain in the ass, crashes so often, and Nvidia can't catch up with pushing new updates out of the drivers. New updates of the drivers out just to make it work. That's what I've heard. I have not played it yet. I am waiting for a PS5 upgrade, so the PS, the Cyberpunk upgrade for the PS5 version, and I'll probably play it then. You'll get there. Because obviously there were issues with, not on this level from what I gather, but with Witcher 3 on launch, and that's, it's highly rated game now, that is. So yeah, so I'll see you all tomorrow. I'll see you in a bit.